Previous research has offered circumstantial evidence that Ganymede, the largest moon in the solar system, contains more water than all of Earth's oceans put together. However, temperatures there are so cold that the water on the surface is frozen solid. Also, Ganymede's ocean is thought to be 100 miles below the moon's crust. Nell says that, in order to seek protection from their furry foes, birds actually prefer to build their nests in plots of swamp with a resident alligator. In fact, in one study a graduate student planted fake alligators. The birds seemed to prefer to build nests close to them. History is selective. What history books tell us about the past is not everything that happened, but what historians have selected. They cannot put in everything. Choices have to be made. Choices must similarly be made about which aspects of the past should be formally taught to the next generation in the shape of school history lessons. A microbe can either reproduce by dividing or it can conserve its energy and maintain only its most basic functions. One possibility is that in the unfavorable conditions under the South Pacific floor, the microbes could have been dividing very slowly over centuries. In this case, the microbes in the study may be the descendants of an even more distant past. Today, however, Skinner's heirs are forcing the skeptics to think again. See article. Backed by billionaire techies such as Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates, schools around the world are using new software to personalize learning. Everyone loves a winner, is a common saying, but surprisingly, people dislike losing more than they like winning, and it actually takes a lot to tempt us to take a risk. Psychologists and economists from Princeton University found that people do not like to bet money in a 50-50 situation unless they can win twice the amount they could lose. There are, of course, intercultural difficulties as well as language difficulties, he said. There are, of course, also many Australian students who don't speak such fantastically good English either. I've seen no evidence to suggest that students are not able to complete their courses because they're failing in English, yet they're being passed by the universities, she said. I've not seen any evidence to back that up. International education is one of our largest exports. It's our fourth largest export, and it's in the interest of our universities to maintain very high standards because their reputation is at stake. In ancient Athens, a boy was socially located by his family identity, and Plato often refers to his characters in terms of their paternal and fraternal relationships. Socrates was not a family man and saw himself as the son of his mother, who was apparently a midwife. Soil is the top layer of the Earth's surface, mostly created from weathered rock. It is made up of varying amounts of minerals, humus, or decayed organic matter, and useful living creatures like worms. The finest rock particles within soil form sticky clay, the medium particles become silt, and the coarsest constitute sand. The term voice and text are multifaceted. Both have a wide range of meanings in everyday speech and academic usage. You may encounter the two used in a variety of ways, in connection with different subjects, and they won't always mean exactly the same thing. Plato often explores the father-son relationship and whether a father's interest in his sons has anything to do with how well his sons turn out. A boy's social identity in ancient Athens was determined by his family identity, and Plato often refers to his characters in terms of their parental and fraternal relationships. Scientific studies show that by age 3 there is a gap in brain development between kids who read aloud and those who do not, and children from low-income families are disproportionately impacted by this gap. Making sure all parents know the importance of reading aloud to their children is critical to closing the achievement gap. For graduates looking to give something back, volunteering, either in the UK or overseas, is a popular option. Voluntary projects can cost anything from nothing up to a few £1,000s, and with that in mind it is essential to look into the project carefully before signing on the dotted line. Despite a number of events in recent years devoted to language diversity, language endangerment, and multilingualism, such as the International Year of Languages, public awareness of the issues is still remarkably limited. Nature offers no greater splendor than the starry sky on a clear, dark night. Silent, timeless, jeweled with the constellations of ancient myth and legend, the night sky has inspired wonder throughout the ages. A wonder that leads our imaginations far from the confines of Earth and the pace of the present day, out into boundless space and cosmic time itself. We define paraphrasing as putting a passage from an author into your own words. However, what are your own words? How different must your paraphrase be from the original? The answer is it should be considerably different. While advances in agricultural science have always been critical to ensuring we help feed the world, its impact and importance is even greater now, as population grows at a rapid rate and the availability of arable land steadily declines. Science and technology solutions are essential to meeting growing demand for food, maintaining market competitiveness and adapting to land mitigating risks. It's time for this young loggerhead turtle to go to work. We can tether turtles in these little cloth harnesses, put them into this tank and dull swimming place. University of North Carolina biologist Ken Lohman studies sea turtles that are programmed from birth for an extraordinary journey. The world's fifth largest continent, Antarctica is almost entirely covered by ice 2,000 meters thick. The area sustains varied wildlife including seals, whales, and penguins. The Antarctic Treaty, signed in 1959 and enforced since 1961, provides for international governance of Antarctica. Undergraduates may choose to major in any one of 125 academic majors. The university's distinguished faculty includes internationally known scientists, authors, and teachers who are committed to continuing the university's tradition in providing one of the highest quality undergraduate educations available. Scholars build their own personal libraries to support not only particular projects but also general reading in their field. They buy or make photocopies of materials when possible, so they can consult them frequently, mark pages and write annotation on them. When moving into a new field, they add to their collections, usually concentrating on primary texts. There were two types of soldier in the Roman army: the Roman legionary and the auxiliaries. The legionaries were the very best soldiers and the auxiliaries were actually non-Roman citizens. Legionaries wore an undershirt made of linen and a woolen tunic. The wonderful framework of mature trees creates a secluded, enclosed atmosphere that unites a great variety of plantings to inspire visitors in all seasons. Spring in the garden is marked by leafing up and flowering of trees and the eruption of the flowers in the bulb meadows and woodland understory. In medicine, the application of information technology means the digitalization of medical records and the establishment of an intelligent network for sharing those records. Other benefits flow from these technological changes. In the past, medicine has taken a paternalistic stance, with the all-knowing physician dispensing wisdom, but that is becoming increasingly untenable. We understand that not everyone can put their job and other responsibilities on hold to study. That's why our healthcare ethics and law master's courses are available to study by distance learning, so you can fit gaining an academic qualification around your work and family. An industry or workplace often has its own terms for certain items, places, or groups of people, and a university is no different. Here we have attempted to explain some of the terms you may come across on our websites that are specific to higher education. Any writer must decide upon an order and a structure for a book in keeping with the reflexive nature of the work. There are strong currents of reiteration in the book, with each iteration developing understandings of research, theory, and practice as the story continues to unfold. Based on the results from this study, we hypothesized that a high-protein diet coupled with low carbohydrate intake would be beneficial for prevention of bone loss in adults. Many people are under the impression that the water which comes out of a plant is clean. This is a common misconception. The function of a plant is to make the water cleaner, but it's not clean enough to drink. It could be used in irrigation. Research has shown that the gut microbiome is important for human physiology and health. Disturbances to the composition of the gut microbiome can be associated with chronic diseases such as gastrointestinal inflammatory disorders, neurological, cardiovascular and respiratory illnesses. Deep brain stimulation, DBS, to the superolateral branch of the medial forebrain bundle, MFB, which is linked to reward and motivation, revealed metabolic brain changes over 12 months post-DBS implantation, making it a strong potential therapy for treatment-resistant depression. Deep brain stimulation, DBS, to the superolateral branch of the medial forebrain bundle, MFB, which is linked to reward and motivation, revealed metabolic brain changes over 12. James Webb Space Telescope was specifically designed to observe this light, which comes from some of the oldest galaxies to take form. How did early stars and galaxies take shape? What about the cosmic material that is undetectable, known as dark matter? Is there evidence for it in the early eons of the universe? These are some of the perplexing and fascinating questions that astronomers can begin unraveling with Webb. Months post-DBS implantation, making it a strong potential therapy for treatment-resistant depression. Psychology is the study of cognitions, emotions, and behavior. Psychologists are involved in a variety of tasks. Many spend their careers designing and performing research to understand how people behave in specific situations, how and why we think the way we do, and how emotions develop and what impact they have on our interactions with others. In every cultivated language there are two great classes of words which, taken together, comprise the whole vocabulary. First, there are those words with which we become acquainted in daily conversation, which we learn from the members of our own family and from our familiar associates, and which we should know and use even if we could not read or write. We can see from the X-rays that at an early stage of painting, a window was painted at the left of the portrait. It seems that there may have been two windows in the initial design for the portrait, or that the window was moved at an early stage. We've spent a lot of money over the last 70 years on flood control, and it's protected millions of people and has saved us billions of dollars. We've built dams to hold back the waters. We've built levees to keep the water off the people, and we've raised the ones that were originally started in 1718. We want a recreation in adulthood of what it felt like to be administered to and indulge. In a secret part of our minds, we picture someone who will understand our needs, bring us what we want, to be immensely patient and sympathetic to us, act selflessly, and make it all better. Globalization refers to a set of changes rather than a single change. Many of these changes are social, cultural and political rather than purely economic, and one of the main drivers in addition to the global marketplace is the communication revolution. In the past, wars have led to inflation and higher commodity prices. Fighting disrupts trade and prevents raw materials from being shipped from one country to another. In Second World War Britain, a banana was the highest of luxury.